Every morning before the sun fully rose over their quiet suburban neighborhood, two sisters, Kayla, 10, and Mia, 8, walked to school hand in hand. Their route was familiar: down Oakwood Lane, past the bakery, through the school's front gate. It had always been a comforting ritual for them, a sign of routine and security. Teachers often remarked on how close they were. Kayla always slightly ahead, protective, while Mia followed with wide eyes and a quiet smile. Nothing about their morning that day seemed unusual. The sisters waved to Mrs. Hargrove, the crossing guard, and entered the school together, just as they always had. But by the afternoon, only one would return home, and a mystery would unfold that would grip the entire town. That Monday began like any other, except for the storm clouds rolling in. As the school day ended and children poured out of classrooms, only Kayla showed up at the gate where their mother waited. Confused, their mother asked, "Where's Mia?" Kayla looked around, bewildered. "She was with me during lunch," she said. "But after recess, I didn't see her again." The search began immediately. First the classrooms, then the bathrooms, the playground, the nurse's office. No one had seen Mia after second period recess. Her backpack remained untouched by her desk. Within the hour, the school was placed on lockdown, and police were called in. That night, searchlights lit up the school grounds, but Mia had vanished without a trace. Word spread quickly. Flyers with Mia's picture were printed and posted all over town. Local news outlets arrived, filming concerned parents and tearful classmates. Volunteers joined law enforcement in combing through every corner of the school and nearby woods. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Drones scanned the area. Parents demanded answers. How could a child disappear from a school full of adults? The principal, shaken, vowed full cooperation. But as days passed without a breakthrough, rumors started swirling. Some blamed lax security. Others whispered about strangers spotted near the fence. The most haunting rumor of all was that someone inside the school knew more than they were saying. 7 days passed. Mia's disappearance became national news. Her mother, visibly exhausted, appeared on TV pleading for help. "If someone took her, please just bring her home. She's only 8. She's scared of the dark." Kayla barely spoke. She started sleeping in her mother's bed, waking up crying. She drew pictures of her sister in her journal, always with a sun above her head. The school, things were tense. Extra police stood by the gates. Attendance dropped. Teachers were questioned. Custodians searched closets, storerooms, even crawl spaces. Yet nothing, no signs of struggle, no fingerprints, no leads. Mia's disappearance began to feel like an impossible puzzle. On the 8th day, something shifted. A custodian named Mr. Reynolds, who had worked at the school for over 20 years, recalled an old maintenance report about a sinkhole near the back of the building. It had supposedly been filled years ago, but he wondered if something had changed with recent rains. Acting on a hunch, he walked around to the overgrown back lot, where rusting pipes and maintenance junk had been dumped. Hidden behind a half-collapsed fence, he noticed disturbed soil near a concrete slab. Kneeling down, he heard something faint, almost like tapping. His heart pounded. He called out, "Hello!" A weak voice replied, "Help me." What happened next was a blur of flashing lights, rescue crews, and frantic digging. Beneath a broken section of old concrete, they found a narrow sinkhole about 6 feet deep, partially caved in and covered by a loose wooden board. Inside was Mia, covered in dirt, dehydrated, and shaking, but alive. She was curled into a fetal position, her arms scraped from trying to climb out. She had survived for 8 days in the dark, subsisting on rainwater and hope. As she was lifted into daylight, her first word was Kayla. The sisters were reunited at the hospital moments later, clinging to each other in silent sobs. Doctors were amazed she had survived so long with no major injuries. Once Mia was stable, investigators asked the question on everyone's mind: how did she end up in that hole? Through tearful whispers, Mia explained. After recess, she'd gone around the back of the school to retrieve a paper plane another student had thrown over the fence. She stepped on a weak spot behind the building and fell through the ground. The hole had been hidden under debris, and her cries for help had been muffled by the wind and storm that day. The area had been overlooked during earlier searches. The school had no idea the hazard even existed. What had once been dismissed as a sealed cavity had, over time and erosion, opened again. The school faced intense scrutiny. Parents demanded accountability, safety audits, and infrastructure reviews. The principal resigned. The district approved emergency funding to inspect all school properties for similar risks. Mia's case sparked nationwide conversations about school safety, not just from intruders, but from environmental hazards. Kayla returned to school weeks later, but things were never quite the same. She never let Mia out of her sight again. Their mother pulled them both out of school temporarily, opting for homeschooling while the building was inspected. For a long time, Mia was afraid of enclosed spaces and slept with the lights on. Over time, the sisters began to heal. Therapy, love, and community support helped them slowly rebuild a sense of normalcy. Kayla grew more protective, more watchful, sometimes carrying the weight of guilt. What if she had noticed Mia was missing sooner? But their mother reminded her daily. You saved her by speaking up. You never stopped looking. Mia, on the other hand, began to draw again, images of trees, clouds, and light. In one drawing, she sketched a version of herself in the hole, with a hand reaching down from the sky. When asked what it meant, she said, "It's God. He heard me when no one else could." At the Vanished Echo Stories, we believe stories like Mia's must be told, not just to inform, but to remind us of how fragile safety can be, even in the places we trust most. Let this be a lesson to every school, every teacher, every caregiver. Check in. Be alert. Know your students not just by name but by presence. One moment of attention can make the difference between a child going home or vanishing. If this story moved you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with teachers, school leaders, and parents. Backhand index pointing down comment below. How can we make schools safer for all children? Subscribe to the Vanished Echo Stories for more real-life accounts that raise awareness and speak for those who were once lost.